Welcome to Pathetic, the podcast. We are back. The boys are here. We had an unbelievable weekend of football. What a weekend. It just is a nice palate cleanser to actually see great football after the slop we've watched all season. So, Jeff, Teddy, how are we doing tonight?
Yeah, this was the best playoff weekend I think I've ever seen in my lifetime. The playoffs were great. The games were amazing. They were close. Even the game that wasn't close initially turned out to be close. The Packers and the Bear game. So it was awesome. Obviously, the head coaching carousel has been absolutely crazy. So even though our teams are horrible, there's still a lot to talk about with other teams. So we'll certainly get into it.
Absolutely.
It was
Teddy,
a
how we doing?
great weekend. Good, Mike. How are you doing, buddy?
Great.
Mike made a great choice this weekend. We were going to play golf, and he did not, and I did, and it was like I needed waders to play. It was so wet, but that was the only downside of the whole weekend. The rest, watching football, it was, like Jeff said, it was a great weekend of NFL football. A lot of news all over the place that we're following, Twitter accounts for Connor Rogers and everybody else that we can possibly follow, college things, and we're going to get into all that. But yeah, Mike, it was awesome. We had a great time. What about you?
It was good. I went to an ice cream wars competition at the Da Vinci Science Center here in Allentown on Saturday. They had 15 different competitors make ice cream with liquid nitrogen in front of you. So they had different companies come in, and like construction companies and banks and different community organizations go in and try to compete. And the winner was actually a hot chocolate ice cream. It was heavy cream, milk, hot chocolate mix, marshmallows, and forget what else. Maybe some chocolate pudding mix was in there as well. But it was very, very good.
I was going to say, did you taste it?
Oh, we got to taste all of them. It was $20 to get in, and you got to try 15 different ice creams, as much as you wanted. They would just make it in front of you with the liquid nitrogen and put the scoop right in your little cup that you had. And I had like probably more ice cream than I should have. And needless to say, the consequences were dire, but we'll just leave it there. So
that sounds fantastic, by the way.
It was great. It was awesome. I loved every single second of it. It was very, very good all the way around. Shout out to Ice Cream Wars 15. They've done it for 15 years there at the Da Vinci Science Center, so a lot of fun there.
Well, Jeff, you're finding
but I got
out,
home.
Though, you're finding out, Jeff, if there's any kind of a food event of all the people you know. If I say, hey, Jeff, who do you think a friend of yours would be going to Ice Cream Wars? Your first guess would be Kalanya.
100%, and 100%. It's not just Ice Cream Wars. It's everything. The events, the games he bets on.
Right.
Ice Cream Wars, which sounds simple. I didn't even know that existed, and it sounds like I have to go now next year. So, Mike, I'm going to be joining you next year. This is an annual thing.
Jeff, so I can legitimately say, in my entire life, there's not one friend of mine that's ever had more fun or put us in more fun situations than Mikey C.
I believe it.
It's ridiculous what he does.
I believe it.
Gotta keep going. You gotta do stuff. You can't be just sitting around on your phone looking at nonsense all day. You're gonna drive yourself crazy. So I gotta go out and do stuff.
I get it.
So. But yeah, what a weekend we had. We have another great weekend. Some say the best weekend of the year when it comes to NFL football is this coming weekend, because you still have 4 games. You have a lot of the riffraff that just squeaked into the playoffs are gone now. Really, these 8 teams that are left are all teams that can win the Super Bowl. But before we get into next week, let's talk a little bit about those games. We talked a little bit about it at the open, but what was your guys' overall aspect of the weekend? And the playoffs were just unbelievable so far. So Jeff, what are we thinking? What was your overall thoughts of the weekend here?
I mean, all the games were great. There's obviously storylines in almost every game. I thought the most impressive thing I saw this weekend, though, was Josh Allen's toughness. Now, we knew he was tough, right? That's how he plays. That's been his MO since he came into the league. but it was unbelievable during that game watching this guy within a half jam a hand, twist a knee, go into the concussion tent, and still come out and play phenomenal. So I'm rooting for Josh Allen hard. I know you guys don't because he's a Bill. I get it, but it's hard not to watch that guy and not root for him. Not just what he does on the field. Obviously, he's a pleasure to watch, but the way he shows up to the game with the shirt, signed by the kids in the children's hospital. He's such an easy player to root for, and to watch him be such a nice guy off the field, but a savage on the field. If anybody deserves a Super Bowl this year, it's him. And I think you guys would probably agree with that, even as, I don't want to say Bill haters, but just as Jet fans in general.
Yeah, I'm a Bill hater for sure.
I wouldn't consider myself a Bill hater. I mean, I had a math teacher in middle school that if the Bills won, we didn't have math homework on Monday. So, in theory, I wish they were good. I was great because that was during the 4 straight Super Bowl run. And she said if they ever won the Super Bowl, we would not get homework for the rest of the year at that point. So, which would be awesome. So I have a soft spot for upstate New York, growing up there. So I would love to see the Bills get there. I love to see new blood. That's the other great thing about this weekend. We're getting new blood. There is no one really in there right now who is tired of. I'm rooting for any of these 8 teams win. I'm sorry, 7 of the 8 teams win the Super Bowl. I will be very happy. There is one team that I will not be rooting for in any shape or fashion, but the other 7 teams, any of them win, I'm going to be pretty happy with their fan base. So,
yeah, listen, I don't like the Bills. I do agree with everything you guys said about Josh Allen. I mean, Mikey, you know me. When he was coming out, I wanted the Jets to get Josh Allen. Mikey,
I did too.
Mikey and I were both on Josh Allen, no matter what. And, we settled for Sam. But, yeah, I'm a big Josh Allen fan. What stood out for me, though, this weekend was that Chicago Bears team. You could say a lot of stuff about them. Yep. You can say, oh, yeah, they're a product of their schedule. Caleb Williams is up and down. They don't have enough weapons. Their defense is shoddy. And you look up every single week, and they never give up. They fight to the end. And I think Ben Johnson is – I'm not a huge fan of his because he's so arrogant. But he's a tremendous coach. I mean, we could see that now. And, I mean, I would love to see Chicago come out of the NFC. I really would. Either Chicago or Seattle, because I would like to see Sam Darnold get to a Super Bowl. But that was and what was even better for me was I had like an 8-leg parlay, and they came back at the end, and I was like, I got a lot of cheddar goldfish. Goldfish. But
and there's some teams. There's some teams that are. It's better for the NFL when they're in it. And the Bears are one of them, right? Yeah. They have a great fan base. They have a great stadium. They're a historic franchise. And I agree, Uncle Ted. You can't be anything but impressed with Ben Johnson. And when you're that good, you can be a little bit of a jerk.
Yeah.
You can pull it off, right? You can't be Aaron Glenn or Brian Dable and have that attitude, right? But if you're Ben Johnson, who's proven he's an innovator, right? And, they're few and far between nowadays. He is doing a great job. Caleb Williams has proven that he's, I don't want to say better than Drake May. I still think May is better overall, but he's proving he's in that, like, he should have been picked where he got picked.
Yep.
And it was an impressive win. I actually fell asleep. I thought the Packers had it in the bag. That also happened. What other game was it? There was another game I fell asleep and I woke up and I couldn't believe they won. But yeah, it was surprising seeing that comeback. But listen, all credit to the Bears. They deserve it, and they're dangerous. There's no question about it.
They are.
Yeah, I would agree. I think you gives you hope as a Jets fan because you saw what Chicago was for a long time when you didn't have a quarterback and you didn't have a coach, and they were just the malaise of that division forever. They were just a doormat, and all of a sudden you get a quarterback. You get him under the right coach, and all of a sudden now you're the 2 seed, and you're making noise, and he's learning how to win these big games in prime time, and that's how you. Right now in the league, it's not about what you do in the regular season; it's what you do in the playoffs is what gets you your contracts and everything else. I mean, look at what Daniel Jones did with one playoff win, and all of a sudden he's making all this money all over the place. So Caleb Williams making himself a lot of money and making himself, an indispensable part of Chicago lore going forward. So, but my big takeaway is the Houston Texans. That defense is scary, guys. I know Aaron Rodgers is 55 years old and, probably needed a walker to go out there at the end of that game, but they basically put him into the retirement home at the end of that game. And I hope they're licking their chops to go up to New England on Sunday night and just start, because Drake May has not seen anything like that from any defense that he's played this year with that cupcake of a schedule that the Patriots have had. That is going to be a fun game to watch on Sunday night. So, I would love to see Houston and Buffalo in the championship game on the one side. I'm hoping Chicago and Seattle on the other side. And any of those four teams win, I'm excited. So, those are fan bases that are all starving for a championship and really have been waiting for something for a long time. So, especially Sam Darnold. I agree with you, Teddy. I hope he does well this weekend. And, San Francisco is going to have a morgue out there. They're probably picking up guys off the street to go play for them this week because they're so injured. And that Kittle Achilles pop, we saw it as soon as it happened. We know that was going to be bad. But
I got to tell you, too, something else that really stood out to me was the Panthers, how hard they fought in that game. And I'm still not sold on Bryce Young, although he did play a pretty good game. He had some really clutch throws in crunch time. But that coach is legit. Canales can coach.
Yep.
And he really turned that team around within 1 year. And you can see the way they play. I thought the Rams were going to smoke them, even coming here to Carolina. I thought they were going to kill them. And the Panthers came out and really played a great game. And I would like to see Bryce Young another year under this coach. He had 1 year. The coach has his data he has to analyze and try to make him better. And under Canales' leadership, I think the Panthers can, we'll see what happens next year. But I think they proved that they're a team that you should at least take seriously now if you're playing them.
He might be so much more dangerous if they add another wide receiver to go on the other side of Tech McMillan.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and the way they started that game too, they could have easily rolled over, and that game could have been, 24-0 by the halftime. But all of a sudden, they stayed in it, and they had the lead in the fourth quarter. They had to have Stafford come back and make an all-time comeback to get that game. But unbelievable comebacks all the way through. Games back and forth. Like I said, with the slop of football that we've watched this entire season, that was like the ultimate palate cleanser of a weekend right there. Now I am ready. If I could watch that kind of football every weekend, I would be in for that no matter what happens, win or loss at that point. So
and it's kind of like the bye week for the Jets and Giants. You have a relaxing day of football. How many times do the Jets and the Giants ruin our 1 o'clock experience? And I can't even enjoy the 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. experience because I'm annoyed. Right? We actually had a relaxing day.
They ruined it 17 times.
Yeah,
exactly.
17 for 17, undefeated on that.
But it was great games. I mean, all across the board, great games. And I think I can't say it's going to get better because I think this week, again, I thought it was the best weekend of football I've ever seen collectively. But this weekend looks pretty damn good, too. Some interesting matchups.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will definitely get into those here. We'll have our picks going forward when it comes to that. But we also have another big game coming up on Monday. So we have Saturday, we have NFL, Sunday NFL. But Monday, we have the national championship game, which if you're a college football fan, this is going to be a fun one. I think this is an absolute shootout between these two teams. You have Miami coming in, barely getting into the college football playoff and really just putting, as Michael Irvin would say, belt to you-know-where for all these teams, beating A&M, beating, the teams that they beat to get there. And it's just been fun to watch. And you have the Heisman Trophy winner doing his thing and beating Alabama and all these teams handily. And this is going to be a fun matchup on Monday night in Miami.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. You got, we talked about this before the show. The defense of Miami is legit, and it's going to be a tall task for Mendoza, but there's something about this kid that he doesn't get phased. You know what I mean? Like this is why I think he's so NFL ready. Listen, he's not going to have an easy time against Miami, but I think he's going to have a great game. I think he's primed for these kind of moments. We've seen him step up all year in big spots. I don't think he's looking at this game like, oh man, the whole world's watching me. I have to make sure I look good for the NFL next year. I think he embraces these situations, just his personality, right? He doesn't seem like he's too, he's a little almost carefree to a degree, right? So I'm really looking forward to this game, and I think Mendoza shows up and shows out. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I'm very excited for the game. I'm a huge college football fan, maybe even more so than the pros. The thing that I love about these games is not only am I watching the game itself, but as a Jet fan, we're always looking to see who we're going to draft. And listen, I'd give one of my children to have Mendoza. But the thing is, well, that's an argument for another time. But I look at Carson Beck. Look what he's done. And a year ago, he was considered a top 5 before he got hurt at Georgia. So there's another guy who could be a pretty solid quarterback in the draft. But that game is going to be so tough. Miami might have the best defense I've ever seen of a college team. They're really quick. They're really brutal, very, very physical. But I think Indiana, I think Indiana is going to be the national champion. I can't see anybody beating them. I can't.
I would tend to agree. I mean, I didn't think Miami had a chance against Alabama in that Rose Bowl, and they just came out and really just took it to them and was not competitive. So I'm thinking Miami is going to keep this probably closer than you think. I think the line is 8.5 Indiana, which is a big number, but I would love to see an entertaining national championship game. To cap off a really, really fun college football season. I mean, you had a lot of great teams, drama about the playoffs. They're talking now about 16 teams getting in next year, adjusting it so that way, Notre Dame is guaranteed a spot if they're in the top 5. I think there's a lot of changes that are going to be going on there, and really, setting this up to be, almost like a junior NFL for a lot of people. So, that's really what it's become at this point, because there is no more, college athletes and going to class and any of that stuff at this point. It's just how much you're going to pay me and am I going to play? And if I'm not, and if I don't like either of those two answers, I'm going right in that portal and going somewhere else.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and I love Indiana winning this game, but it's very hard to pick them at, you said 8.5. That was the number.
8.5
minus 8. Yeah, I can't do that with Miami's defense. I probably have to pick Miami. You like 8. That's a crazy number for this defense. Like I think Miami's going to win because I think Mendoza will. Like I said, I think he'll show up and play great. And if it's a close game, he's going to find a way to win. That's what he does. But yeah, Miami's going to. It may be a low-scoring game, honestly, like under 20 points each team, and just comes down to that last drive. So I wouldn't be surprised.
It's a tough one. That I mean, if gun to my head, I'm going to give the 8.5 points because somehow, some way, Jeff, you said it. Mendoza's not even stressing this game.
Yeah,
you could see it in his mannerisms. The way he's laughing before games and all. I think he's going to go out there. It's just another game, and we're going to kick the crap out of you the way we kick the crap out of everybody else. But I do, there is a world where I can see that defense maybe giving him or giving the team some trouble. I don't know about Mendoza himself, but the team. But who knows? That's a tough one. But I'll give the 8.5. I'll be crazy.
Yeah, I'm going to take Miami, and I'm going to hammer. I'm on the opposite side of you, Jeff. I think this is a shooter. I think these two offenses are primed and ready to go. I think you're looking at one of these teams might cover the over-under on their own. I see it as 47.5 as the over-under. I think this is well over. I think you're in the 30s for both of these teams, and it's going to come down to whoever's got the ball last. And I'm going to think it's going to be Mendoza that Indiana wins, but I think they're going to cover the 8.5 Miami. So give me Miami 8.5 and the over.
And that's what makes this game great, Mike. We're on complete opposite sides because it can go either way. Like, I wouldn't be surprised either if this ends up being this crazy shootout, high scoring, 30 points each. And on the converse, with Miami's defense, Indiana's defense plays well too. I could see them shutting it down. So there's a million different ways this game can go. And, I'm always excited for the national championship, but this one intrigues my interest a lot more than usual. It's a very, very interesting matchup.
Yeah, it will be a lot of fun on Monday night. A nice end to the football weekend before we get into, championship weekend. And then we start to think about the Super Bowl and, can't wait for all of those prop bets to come out. You got to know that your boy Mikey Mush is going to be coming out with some kind of crazy ideas in terms of what the prop bets are going to be for this. So, this is one of my favorite times of the year is when it gets down to Super Bowl time and, everyone's out and getting food. And, I see over the weekend, we saw all the Eagles cookies and stuff in the supermarkets with the little cupcakes with the Eagles helmets on them and the cookie cake with the Go Birds and all that stuff.
They're on the clearance rack now.
They are on clearance. I went into there today and it was like $2 for $1. It was on that that clearance rack that's next to the bathroom that has like the stuff that's like basically expiring the next day. Yeah. That's where all the Eagles stuff was today.
There's a whole bunch of kids in Rwanda wearing Eagles Super Bowl champions t-shirts right now.
Yes. So hopefully they were also wearing New England ones going forward. But we will have a fun weekend here. Any other sports you guys want to touch on? Football, basketball, hockey. I know hockey is real bad right now when it comes to.
I can't talk.
Yeah,
about that right now.
The Devils are bad. The Devils losing 9-0. Rangers losing 10-2. I mean, it's just it's bordering on the football teams at this point with the hockey teams right now. And
I don't know what's
Knicks are kind of hit a little tough spot, but they're getting healthy again. And it's really going to come down to the playoffs. They're going to make the playoffs. You want them to be a 2 or the 2 seed, hopefully, so you get 2 home playoff rounds. But we'll see how that goes going forward.
Yeah, I mean, listen, football has really swallowed everything, right, with all the news going on. But obviously, baseball hasn't done that because our teams, I guess, don't want to do anything at this point. So,
here's my question, Jeff. The Mets have a huge contract offer out for Kyle Tucker, who I'm not a big Kyle Tucker guy. Okay. Again, you want to give him $50 million a year over 3 years? You couldn't give that to Alonso. Couldn't give that to Pete. I'm telling you, this year, this might be the year I don't root for the Mets. Because even if they sign him, it's like the Yankees too. The Yankees they're out on Bellinger, okay? Because they're not going to meet his. Now listen, Bellinger wants a lot of money, and I don't know if I would pay him that money. But now they're out on Bellinger. I mean, I just don't understand this. This is New York.
I know.
This is New York. So you're just going to allow all these other teams to sign these guys. Now it looks like the Phillies are probably have the inside track on Bo Bichette. Now, you add Bo Bichette into that Phillies lineup. Holy crap. How are you going to stop him? I don't get it. I must be stupid. I really must be stupid. And it's not, I guess it's not so much Cashman's fault because I think he's taking orders from Hal. Stearns, I do believe it is his fault because I think he's told Cohen, we should do it this way. And Cohen's too busy right now with his casino to worry about anything else.
Right.
All he wanted to tell you is our payroll is going to be higher. And now they're going to sign this guy and to make their payroll look so much higher. I'm
Yeah,
really annoyed.
I don't think the Yankees are out on Bellinger. I think this is all smoke and mirrors in terms of what they're going to do. I think ultimately they're going to get there. They made a nice little trade today. They get Ryan Weathers from the Marlins for a couple of prospects. You can never have too much pitching. Another lefty arm in that starting rotation. Slot him in with Fried and Schlittler and Will Warren. It's going to happen at some point. This whole season, it's just going to be like that. You got to count. You got to get a swear jar in the yes booth because that's going to happen. Multiple times during the year. So
that's why when I talk about him, I just call him Cam. Cam. That's it. It avoids a mistake.
Yep. Exactly. So we'll see. I mean, we have a lot of time to go before baseball season, although not really so much. I think pitchers and catchers is like
it's the 18th,
4 weeks
17th?
away or something like that. Yeah,
it seems long. It seems long because we haven't done anything of significance. Neither team. Right. So it's like I still feel like we're in the beginning stages of the offseason, and we're already like whatever the number is, 65, 70% through. So I don't know. I guess they're content with where they are. It is what it is. But yeah, the baseball season is rapidly approaching, and next thing before we know, we'll be talking about the preseason stuff and what we expect from the Mets and Yankees
and my Orioles.
And your Orioles. Did you get the jersey yet?
I haven't seen it on the Chinese website yet, but I will.
I'm sure it will be shortly. You got to give it a little time.
Number 25.
Yes. Would you get was Palmeiro 25 on the Orioles? You just get that jersey and just rip it off and put Alonso up. Yeah. You know how that goes.
Oh, God.
So we will keep an eye on that. Obviously, we love this time of year. We're getting into we're almost through the winter. We're like halfway through at this point. We've hit the darkest part of the season. The days are starting to get a little bit longer. So, before we know it, guys, we'll be sitting by the pool watching baseball and yelling about our teams there, just like we did for football season. But we get to do it every day now, as opposed to just once a week on Sunday. So certainly keep an eye on all of that. We will go now to the picks. I'm going to go with my mush pick first, which was really bad. I mean, the wrestling picks were not good. So for those who didn't see, it was Rutgers plus 41.5 against Penn State. Penn State won 47-0. So if Rutgers could just put up a couple of points, maybe pin somebody, they would have had a chance. But they did not cover the 41.5. Illinois lost 27-9 against Minnesota, so they did not cover the 5.5 points. And then Oklahoma lost 37-0 to Oklahoma State, so they did not cover their 29.5 point spread. So that's a 0-3 stinker for Mikey Mush there on the wrestling. So from the top rope, I got pile drove and whatever you want to do for that. It was not good. So, but we're going back to the well where a lot of the success has been this year or last year when it comes to it. We're going European handball. I love handball. It's so much fun. It's like you're playing basketball, but you're also playing soccer and hockey at the same time. So much fun to watch. You get a chance to watch it do it. There's the European Championships coming up this weekend. These two games are on Saturday. I'm going to take the two favorites. I'm going to take Croatia minus 9.5 goals against Georgia. And I'm going to take Sweden minus 6.5 against the Dutch, Netherlands. Both those games on Saturday afternoon, right before you get to the main course of football. You could watch a little handball in the morning and then roll yourself right in there. So 2-team parlay this week. Hopefully we get another win out of it because it can't be worse than the wrestling picks there. So there's the Mikey Mush picks. And now we will get to the NFL. We did our Miami, Indiana college football picks. I think we're all on the records there. Teddy, you have the records for us from last week.
Yes.
Refresh our memory when it comes to how we all did last week when it comes to the picks for the NFL.
You went 2-4.
Yeah, not great.
The weekend. I went 4-2. And ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jeff went 5-1.
How about that?
5-1.
Coming back.
Oof.
How about that? Shocker. By the way, this is when my picks are correct, when we're not really keeping score as a total win. This is typical my pick. So I will happily accept the victory this week, but it means nothing. So I don't know what I'm celebrating.
Well, we will run it back again. We'll do the same format we did last week. I will go through the games. I'll give the lines. I will give the lines correctly this time. I know a lot of people commented on me that I was saying giving instead of getting. I'm just going to do minus and plus this time, so that way I'm not confusing anybody, because I did get a couple of comments from people saying that you were completely off on what you were saying. So I'm going to go minus and plus this time for us. And we'll do the order in terms of how we picked this last week. So, Jeff, you'll go first. Teddy second. I will go last. So Saturday afternoon, 4:30, Mile High Stadium. Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills at the Denver Broncos. Denver gets the week off. Denver minus 1.5 points at home. Jeff, what do you think?
Bills with the 1.5. And the reason I say that is because I'm going to stick, to my guns and be consistent. I think it's Josh Allen's time. I think he's showing that, even if the team itself isn't that great outside of him. Anybody the Bills play, I'm going to go with them. So give me the Bills in that game.
Teddy?
I'm taking the Bills also. I mean, I wouldn't even need the 1.5. I think the Bills are going to win it outright. So I like the Bills.
Yeah, I'm with you as well. So 3 of us on Buffalo. That means congrats to the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, congrats to the Broncos. They're winning.
They're going to take that one. So, so first game there, Mile High, fun. Now Saturday night, this place is going to be jumping. They might have an earthquake like they did when that Marshawn Lynch game. Saturday night, NFC West division matchup. San Francisco going to Seattle and playing the Seahawks. Seattle minus 7.5 in this game. I think a lot of it is the Kittle injury into that. But Jeff, what are we thinking? Seahawks and Niners.
So I'm doing this in real time. I didn't even look at the lines or anything yet. So I'm just going to go with instinct. I like the Niners with the 7.5. I think Seattle wins, but that's a big number. With, in my opinion, one of the best coaches in the league in Shanahan. I don't think he gets blown out. So I do like Seattle winning by a field goal, but I'll take the Niners with the 7.5.
I agree with Jeff. I think San Francisco, Seattle wins close, but 7.5 is a lot of points. Even without Kittle, that team always finds a way to really, to stay close. They're coached so well. Really great group of professionals. I can't see them losing by more than 7.5.
I'm going to go against you guys here just to save the graphic. I think that Sam Darnold is finally going to exercise some of those big game demons that he's had over the last couple of years. I think he comes out and plays well. I think San Francisco is going to run out of gas in this game. Just too many injuries, too many guys that are not there. And I don't know if I trust Brock Purdy in a big spot on the road in that raucous Seattle environment. So give me Seattle minus 7.5 there. So we move over to Sunday. We have the 3:00 game. Now we're getting into those 6:30 games, which is kind of fun. I like those because you can relax in the morning as opposed to getting ready at 1:00 for a game. So 3:00, you have the Houston Texans going up to Foxborough and playing the New England Patriots. Patriots minus 3 points in this game. Jeff, what are we thinking?
Again, I want to stick to my guns. I was sold on the Patriots all year. I'm even more sold on them now because of the coach. I think Vrabel, you can make the case. He's one of many coach of the year. So you said Patriots minus 3?
Correct.
Oh, yeah, I got to do it. I'm going to take them. Patriots minus 3.
Houston plus 3.
Yeah. Yep. Houston plus 3, Houston plus 12. I don't care what the number is. I think Houston knocks Drake May's teeth in this game. I hope that's what the case is going to happen. And, I would love to see CJ Stroud do some things here and really, play a great game and really put those Patriot fans right back where they belong, because that just happened too quickly for them to all of a sudden
really
be
did.
good and be back to being the team again. And like, all right.
You know what
guys.
annoys me more than anything? When they've got a playoff game and it's third down for the visitor and you hear that stupid foghorn.
It's the Bruins goal horn. I don't know if you know that, but that's the Bruins score a goal. That's the horn that plays.
It makes you want to punch somebody. It really does.
Yep. Yeah, I'm not a fan of it. It gives me PTSD. I'm not a big fan of that.
Yeah, exactly.
And it has nothing to do with a Patriot, like the actual. It's stupid.
It's
has
the
no
lighthouse
relation
that
to
they
the
have
team.
at the stadium, because it's a light. Even though they're nowhere near the ocean or anywhere where there would actually be a lighthouse, but they put a lighthouse in the stadium, and because of that, they put a foghorn in, and
they should show a video of Paul Revere yelling, "The British are coming" on third down.
Yeah.
All right, maybe not. I don't know. I'm just saying. All right, Mike, keep going.
All right, so to round us out here, last game, I think it's a fun one in Soldier Field, Sunday night, 6:30 start, nice and crisp out there in Chicago. LA Rams at the Chicago Bears. Rams on the road, favored -3.5 points for the Rams. Jeff, what are we thinking?
You know what? I wasn't sold on this team pretty much the whole year, but one thing we do well, all three of us, is we admit when we're wrong. And I was wrong on the Bears. I was wrong on the coach. I like the Bears with the 3.5, obviously, but I think they beat the Rams outright. I really do. So yeah, give me the Bears in that game.
I agree with Jeff. I think the Bears, and I think they do win outright.
I'm with you too. We're in a lockstep here for this game. I'm going to take Chicago. I think this is their time. I think Ben Johnson is great. I think that the Rams have been so inconsistent all year, and you thought that they were in a tough place to play last week. They're going to be in an even tougher place to play in Chicago. So I will definitely like the Bears in that game going forward. So there's your picks, guys. Enjoy the weekend of football. Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. We will be back with you next week. Please like, subscribe, check us out on all your socials. We have posts up, once a week when it comes to all of that. And again, tell your friends about the podcast. We're trying to grow this thing here. And please join us next week. We will be back, and have a great night.
Good night, everybody.